A montage of photographs show a student pushing another student in a wheelchair, students in a classroom, a student using sign language, and a student with one eye smiling. 4 boxes, each with icons representing the different criteria, animate onto screen. Text on screen appears. Criteria 1, stakeholder engagement. The World Bank Group Education and the Education Policy Academy logos appear. 2 researchers in a classroom setting look at a question mark written on a chalkboard and converse. One researcher holds a clipboard and has a sign language icon above them.
You can't find a solution to something without understanding the problem.
The same researchers are in an outdoor school setting with playground equipment in the background. They speak to 5 people with disabilities. 3 icons appear above the people, representing interviews, focus groups, and surveys, the people not.
And the best way to do that is to speak to those experiencing it firsthand. When researchers have a question to answer, they first gather data and information. They conduct interviews, focus groups, and gather feedback in surveys or questionnaires.
The 4 boxes representing each criteria animate onto screen. The first one, Criteria 1, Stakeholder Engagement Plan, enlarges and is highlighted, with the corresponding text beneath it.
Likewise, the first step and criteria for implementing disability inclusion in World Bank education projects and programs is to speak to the stakeholders.
A teacher stands next to a student in a wheelchair as they wheel towards a staircase as a red exclamation mark animates on and off screen. The stairs turn into a ramp with an accessibility sign.
An SEP helps identify risks and barriers that learners with disabilities experience.
A map with the text "Access to Quality Learning Opportunities" animate onto screen as a magnifying glass hovers over it.
It also identifies enablers that can enhance access to quality learning opportunities.
An icon animates onto screen with Ministry of Education as the corresponding text.
Consultations should be led by the government, primarily the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with line ministries and other relevant stakeholders.
2 more icons animate onto screen beside it. One on the left is the Ministry of Transportation, and one on the right is the Ministry of Health. Zooming out from the icons as they move to the top of the screen, 3 students with different disabilities sit and talk around a table. 2 parents appear on the left, and 2 teachers appear on the right.
They may involve engaging students with and without disabilities, their families, teachers, school leaders, and civil society organizations.
In an outdoor education setting, a student and a teacher sit next to each other and speak using sign language. A sign language icon appears above them.
Reasonable accommodations should be made to ensure persons with disabilities can easily access and participate in stakeholder engagement activities.
Panning to the right, 2 students use an e-reader together and a teacher pushes a student in a wheelchair towards a school building with a ramp.
Reasonable accommodations aim to establish equal opportunities and enjoyable spaces for all to participate by removing barriers for persons with disabilities.
Balance scales appear, with children without disabilities on one end and children with disabilities on the other.
Accommodations are considered reasonable when they do not impose disproportionate or undue burdens on anyone involved, including persons with or without disabilities.
They move up and down until they arrive at an even level. 3 circular icons animate onto screen, representing sign language, an e-reader, and extra time.
Reasonable accommodations include, for example, sign language interpretation, the use of e-readers, or simply providing extra time for persons with disabilities to perform a given task.
A zoom out arrives at a group of 7 people, including carers, students, and education workers. Some have disabilities and some do not. A clipboard, a school, and a megaphone appear as icons above them.
Stakeholder engagement should occur both during project preparation and throughout the implementation process.
Inside a large window, 3 educators sit around a table as they listen to another educator converse with them in front of a chalkboard. A zoom in shows puzzle pieces coming together on the chalkboard.
First, to inform the design of the project, and second, so that the project can be continuously adapted and improved.
A diagram representing feedback loops animates onto screen, 1 icon at a time. A school is followed by an arrow pointing to a megaphone icon with the corresponding text, "Project information is shared." Another arrow then points to a group of 8 people smiling at one another. From there, an arrow points to a clipboard icon with the text, "Feedback is given," with another arrow pointing to the group of people.
Feedback loops are key to ensure action is both taken and communicated.
The text qualitative and 2 icons, one with people and one with text boxes, appear. The text quantitative and 2 icons, one a survey and one a questionnaire, appear.
Stakeholders can be engaged through qualitative methods such as interviews and focus groups, or quantitative methods with surveys, questionnaires, or even both.
A group of people are in an outdoor education setting with a school building in the background. Some have disabilities, some do not. They are smiling and nodding together. The background changes to blue and there is a zoom out from the group to reveal several different icons representing forms of accessibility around them.
The most important part is that you offer opportunities so that stakeholders, including persons with disabilities, can fully participate and benefit from the intervention.
Outside the school building, next to an entrance with a ramp, 2 children wave to a boy being pushed by a teacher in a wheelchair as they move towards the building.
And that you use this information to constantly improve the design and implementation of interventions to help ensure that the rights of persons with disabilities are realized.
A coloured transition arrives at the World Bank Group Education and the Education Policy Academy logos. Text on the bottom reads, "For more resources, go to www.worldbank.org/education."